Hey, look, it's that thing your mother confuses Pokemon with. Hello, everybody. Tyrone the God 3 here, and I am doing a discussion video. Yay, I'm doing another one of these. Why? Because, in one of the videos I did, the video where I'm pretty much confirming that I'm doing the X and Y anime review, one of the people in the comment section of that video brought up a very interesting question. And I answered him in the video with a pretty decently paragraphed response. But you know what? To expand further on that, I decided to make a whole video about it. It's like, why not? I'm like, as far as my region discussions, I've done the Kanto region and the Orange Island region. I figure make a discussion about the stuff that I experienced during Pokemon, like this series, for example, Digimon. Yeah, Digimon, digital, yeah, that, all of that. My experience with Digimon. Now, here's the thing. I was introduced to Pokemon first, and I think Digimon came out 1 or 2 years after. You gotta correct me in the comments on this one, because I gotta say I'm not really a Digimon fan. And here's my history with Digimon. Well, I was like, I'm not a Digimon fan, but I do have an odd history with Digimon. Okay, when I heard that Digimon existed, I was still really high in my Pokemon hype. Like around this time, I think I heard about Digimon when the Pokemon movie was coming out. So basically, when Pokemon's fandom was at its prime, like when Pokemon was at the peak of its perfection, the first movie was coming out, and it was getting everybody hype. And before the movie came out, my grandmother and my auntie gave me a bunch of these Pokemon cards that my cousin no longer had anymore, or he had extras and doubles, and he didn't want them all because he had tons of them. So he put them all into his box, and I got to keep those. So it's kind of how I got introduced to Pokemon cards too. But in this box were tons of Pokemon cards. Some of them were like the regular Pokemon cards, the trading cards, which I will discuss in another video, by the way. And then some of them were like these collectible Pokemon cards. Like these weren't really cards you could battle with or anything. They were just cards, promoting Pokemon. Like some of them said Nidoran, and then if you flip the back, it'll show Nidoran in a different view, and it'll have a bunch of this info by them. But also, what came with these cards was some Digimon cards. They weren't any specific battling cards or anything. They were pretty much the same as the Pokemon cards. They were it'll show the Digimon, and then it'll show the back, on the back it'll show all the information on the Digimon and stuff like that. So it's what are these? This definitely isn't Pokemon. Even as a kid, I could tell the art style was very different from Pokemon. It just seemed off to me. So I started to look into it a little bit more, and they made Digimon. I'm like, what is this? And I pretty much thought the same thing that every major Pokemon fan thought of back then when Digimon showed its face. Rip off of Pokemon. Like that's the only real thing you can say when you see something like Digimon just arise after Pokemon. And it's a simple mistake. A lot of people will come up and say, Digimon ripped off Pokemon. This series rips off Pokemon. Hell, Mon is at the end of the name of both of them, Digimon, Pokemon. They both end with the same 3 letters. So a lot of people probably veered away from Digimon just because of that. And I gotta say that's very unfortunate for the Digimon franchise, because it's not really Digimon's fault. They just sort of had a lot of things. Here's some things I think they probably should have done to avoid this. One, they probably should have changed the name. I know it's weird, but I know it would have been weird, but Digital Monsters, yes, they wanted to shorten that down to Digimon. Same reason Pocket Monsters is Pokemon. Well, that makes sense. Unfortunately, the way the show sounds, it sounds like Pokemon. There's no way around that. It looks like an obvious cloned ripoff. Secondly, the creatures. I mean, there's nothing you can really do. If like the series was supposed to be about these creatures, then yeah, you'll see these creatures in the series, and the art style, I could tell as a kid the art style looked different. Like for example, the leaves that show up on some of these like plant-based Digimon look completely different than the leaves that show up in a Kinsamura Sugimori Pokemon art. Like Chikorita's leaf on its head looks different than this girl. I can't I can't remember her name right now, but the girl is holding this Pokemon. Sorry, this Digimon, and its leaf looks obviously different. Like I'm just saying, like the art style looks different, but from the untrained eye, you can look at it and be like, is that a Pokemon? Because like that's how it comes off. It comes off as a cute little animal that has destructive power, and that's what Pokemon is. So, looking at it, you can obviously see it's a sorry ripoff of Pokemon. And by the way that this is set up, there's no real way to avoid this fate because Digimon came out second. It's kind of like the Sonic and Mario thing, where some people say that Sonic is a ripoff of Mario because Mario's a platformer, Sonic's a platformer. But Sonic emphasizes more on speed and stuff like that, while Mario emphasizes on precision. So, so you get your differences like that. So with that being said, when I was introduced to Digimon, I just went ahead and avoided it. Like it wasn't Pokemon in my eyes, so I figured why watch it any longer. My stepbrother, however, decided to veer into the world of Digimon a little bit more. He still likes Pokemon. He still plays Pokemon, plays the Pokemon games and everything. It's just he decided to like venture into the world of Digimon for a short period of his life. And he told me that I should give it a look, and I was like, nah, I don't really want to. Digimon, it's like I said, it just seems too much like Pokemon. But then his grandmother, basically our grandmother, because he has a different grandmother than me. We're technically stepbrothers, but whatever. The point being, his grandmother, which we call Granny, she didn't know the difference at all, and this was another thing. This is another thing that I think caused a lot of problems between parents and children. A lot of children would say they want like Pokemon for their birthday or Christmas, and the parents would go ahead and buy Digimon thinking, they won't know the difference because I don't know the difference. And it was like, so it led to some very frustrating Christmas and birthday gifts for a lot of kids. I can imagine. So there's been some times where it's like grandma, she knew that we both like Pokemon, but she ended up buying a Digimon videotape. So we got to see Digimon just for the hell of it. It's like, she bought us this Digimon tape, we might as well watch it. And the episode we watched was like supposed to be in the first generation of Digimon series, the one you're seeing of these characters right here. And the only character I know, I think there's only two characters on the screen that I know, and that's Tai and TK. I think, Tai and TK. I know one of them's like Agumon, and that's pretty much it. Like I don't know the other Digimon that well. See, like that's my history of Digimon right there. It's like I was introduced to this series via these characters right here, and I watched 3 episodes of them doing stuff. Like they had to go from one place to another, and I noticed some, like when I watched it, I noticed various things. One, each of the digital, quote-unquote, digital champions, or this is what they were called, the Digi-Destin. Yeah, the Digi-Destin. Each of them can only carry 1 Digimon with them. Not like 6 like Pokemon can. Like, they can't carry 6 Pokemon. They can only carry 1 Digimon. So they don't carry them in Pokeballs at all. They just sort of like keep track of them via the Digivice thingamajigger that they have. And I also know that the Digimon can talk. They can talk English. They don't say their names over and over. They actually can speak, which in terms of communication, I gotta say is a little bit better. Because in order to, like, if Pokemon were real, communicating with them would be a lot more frustrating than communicating with a Digimon, because Digimon can understand what you're saying and you can understand what they're saying, so it makes for an effective group. Pokemon, on the other hand, you can't understand what they're really saying. You just got to take a Pokemon's word for it. Or you have to have a really great bond with your Pokemon to get a feeling of what they said. Or you got to have be a Pokemon whisperer, something like that. So in terms of communication, I will give 1 point to Digimon. But unfortunately, that point might get taken away, because having a Digimon be able to talk, essentially having something like your pet or companion or friend that's an animal being able to talk, can sometimes be a little frustrating. I'm just saying, like, just because of the way that this comes off, it may be frustrating to some people. And the third difference that I almost forgot to mention, Digimon can evolve just like Pokemon can, but they can evolve back. Like, for example, I know Agumon can evolve into Greymon and even further into Metal Greymon, so there's like a second phase. And if I'm also not mistaken, there's like this other phase that Agumon can hit, like a fourth phase. So yeah, that's a difference too. There's 4 stages instead of 3, I think. And then they can immediately, when they run out of energy, they can turn back into their cute little first stages. Pokemon can't do that, but I would see no reason for Pokemon to do it. Like, if a Blastoise evolved, if a Wartortle evolved into a Blastoise, what reason would Blastoise ever have to evolve back into Squirtle? Like, there's no real reason for it. I mean, I guess it makes transportation easier, but Pokemon can all fit in Pokeballs, which are the size of your pocket. So really, what would be the purpose? It's a feature that differentiates Digimon from Pokemon, but you know. The only other, so yeah, with that being said, I know that, at least that, and like I said, I know the first generation of Digimon, but not very well. Like, I heard that Digimon pretty much pulls a Yu-Gi-Oh! And makes different series, so there's different generations of the show. And I gotta say that certain iterations of the show seem more like an anime than a cartoon, which Pokemon's an anime too, but Pokemon, like, during some variations, Pokemon treats itself as a cartoon in some episodes because there's no real aim, or yeah, mostly like filler, and things are less serious. Like, it's a very light-hearted anime, and Digimon was too, from what I can remember of the episodes I saw. It's usually like, yeah, they'll approach danger, they'll fight it, and then most of it's just light-hearted comedy and things like that. Digimon came off in later seasons that I pretty much glanced at really fast. They came off as a more serious force. Like, I know there's one series, I can't remember it, you have to remind me in the comments somewhere. There's a series in which the new main character can like fuse with his Digimon in order to create like this warrior / Digimon hybrid or whatever. It's very weird for me. So yeah, like, Digimon pretty much got out of hand for me into this like zone that I was not familiar with. And that's only because I didn't keep up with Digimon. Like, I even hear that the generations cross over. So like, for example, Tai gets older and he meets the character from the last generation. Like, Pokemon keeps Ash forever. There's no second generation of Pokemon, or third or fourth or fifth, except for in the video games. But in the anime, Ash is pretty much the main character each time. So as far as formats go, I definitely will say Digimon got that right. Now, does this mean I like Digimon overall? Obviously, if you all have seen all of my videos on my channel, pretty much I've made 90 of my videos, if you include the LPs of Emerald I did. 90 of my videos will pretty much prove that no, I don't really care for Digimon. I'm more of a Pokemon person. While Pokemon has its flaws compared to Digimon, and Digimon definitely has its flaws too compared to Pokemon, they both have their differences, but I definitely will have to say Pokemon keeps me more entertained. Like, yes, there's some things that Digimon would do that I would like Pokemon to do sometimes, but Pokemon just keeps me more entertained. Pokemon definitely is just the thing that that caught my attention more. Maybe it was just the timing. Maybe if I had been introduced to Digimon first, I probably would have been more of a Digimon fan. But Pokemon did just to me was the better of the two franchises. Not just be it's kind of unfair and it's kind of biased because one, Pokemon came out first. Two, Pokemon was just the more popular franchise for everybody. So you're obviously gonna swing with where everybody else is going, and it just did better. I think one of the things that probably set it off was video games too, because Pokemon has had a running. Pokemon's main thing is their video games. Like the video games were supposed to attract the fans to it. The anime is only supposed to advertise the video game for real. Like really, that's it. And I think that Digimon started off as an anime first, and then they started making like some games based off of it, and they don't take the games as seriously. And that's probably one of the major differences, is that Pokemon's main thing is its game. Like the video game is referenced in the anime several times, but the anime is basically supposed to be an advertising technique. Digimon has got it the other way around. Everything that's advertised is because of the show. There's no real video game that bases itself off Digimon that came out before Digimon. And with that said, my brother had one Digimon game. I cannot remember what it was for real. I do know it was for the PlayStation 1. And what we had to do, it was weird. What we had to do was take care of Agumon or whatever. And we had to do stuff that you don't have to do in Pokemon. Like, we had to feed freaking Agumon and train. Well, you have to train Pokemon, but we had to freaking feed Agumon. And there were even instances where Agumon would take a crap. Yeah, like take a shit. And if we refuse to clean that up, or it piles up too much, then he literally would like digivolve into crap. It was very weird. It was definitely a weird way to come at it. It was so awkward for me and everybody. Like I don't know exactly what this was, but it was so weird. I just didn't get it. So with that being said, I'm not really sure what that was, but having to take care of a creature of a creature like it's a pet definitely is more frustrating than just taking care of a Pokemon by itself. So yeah, that was our video game experience with Digimon. The only other experience I had anime wise, I think, was there was this one time I actually watched the Digimon movie. I ended up running into it because my stepdad had the DVD. My stepdad's he's kind of an otaku. Like he keeps a lot of anime DVDs because he wants to watch different things. But yeah, that was how we got introduced to a lot of the anime that we watch, is because he usually keeps some of the VHSs or the DVDs. So with that being said, we ended up watching he ended up getting the Digimon movie, and we ended up watching it. And I gotta say, it was an okay movie. Like, I didn't complain about it. It wasn't. It entertained me enough. It took enough of my time. That's all I could really say about it. I do know that Digimon was pretty much Digimon took a weird advertising turn, just like Pokemon did as well, as far as like broadcasting, because Pokemon at first was on Kids WB and then transferred to Cartoon Network. Digimon, from what I can remember, was on Fox first. Was on the 4Kids Fox, which was like Channel 2 or whatever. I can't remember. It was on Fox first, and then it made a shift to Disney. And then it made a shift to Disney XD. So from what I can remember, if you were to want to catch episodes of Digimon, then you would more than likely catch them on Disney XD. I don't know where Digimon is now. I don't know currently what's up with Digimon. I don't even know if there's still a series. I don't know what's going on with Digimon, and I couldn't answer even if you told me, because I don't keep track of Digimon as much. At all, actually. I don't keep track of Digimon at all. And I hate to seem so biased towards Pokemon, but That's kind of how it was. Like Pokemon just sort of hit the shelves first, so it kind of got my attention first. And that's pretty much what I had to say about as far as franchise wise. In terms of like, a lot of people do this. A lot of people will ask like, okay, Digimon versus Pokemon, which one do you think would win? I love Pokemon to death. I really do. I really love Pokemon. Like, hell, I'm damn near 20 and I'm still doing videos on Pokemon. I'm doing videos on Pokemon. That's not to say that there's anything wrong with that. There's only something wrong with that with, like, normal society thinks that you're in the wrong for that because, you know, you can never really be too old for anime or video games or hell, just anything you like. If you like it, then that's your preference. You shouldn't be chained down by other people looking down on you just because you like something that you like. Hell, if you like Barney or anything, or My Little Pony, or yeah, if you're a brony, you shouldn't be looked down for it. Like, so really, yeah. Point is, I'm saying, back to the point at hand, I really, really love Pokemon. I love Pokemon to death. But, who would win in a fight? I have to say Digimon. I really do. And I'm like, see, and that's one of the things that's probably going to piss a lot of Pokemon fans off when I say this. But don't hit that unsubscribe button. I have my reasons. Like, I think a true fan should be able to accept the fact when their franchise is beat in raw power. Like, okay, think about it. The strongest Pokemon in the world, or not even the strongest Pokemon in the world, take a Pokemon's attack. The most I've seen a Pokemon's attack do is blow up like a mountain or like this building. I watched the Digimon battle happen and they've destroyed like fucking cities. Like Digimon, I'm like, first of all, Digimon had 4 stages of evolution like I stated before. And Digimon, I've seen Digimon do destructive shit. Pokemon, they do destructive stuff, but it's usually something where the area is still intact. Like, the only Pokemon I think could probably put up a fight against Digimon are legendary Pokemon, but I've seen Digimon do really large masses of damage. So, honestly, I would have to say Digimon are stronger. Unfortunately, it comes at a cost. They're less entertaining to watch. And here's now, if you Pokemon fans that are subscribed to my channel or whatever are watching me now, yeah, like, I don't think a true fan, like, a fan should be able to accept, okay, Pokemon are good, and they're more entertaining than Digimon, but Digimon have, like, a bit of a stronger thing. Like, they're in terms of power, it's obvious which one's stronger. So, like, I don't think a fan should plaster their favorite series is just better than everything just because. Like, I think there should be at least some reasoning behind it. Yeah, so that's my opinion on that. But I will say that there's some things of Digimon, just from knowing the series as a whole, that I really don't like. One, I don't like that every Digimon has Mon at the end of their name. That is annoying. It's really annoying, and it kind of feels uncreative to me. It's like everything. Agumon, Karurumon, Metal Greymon. Like, each of these things have Mon at the end of their name, and it's kind of annoying, and it leads to no real, like, originality in each of their names. Like, yes, some of their names do show some originality. Like, I can't remember right now, but there's some, like, Devimon, which is, like, devil. You know, stuff like that. I can, like, yeah, some of them have the original first part, but then afterwards it's just reduced to Mon, like Kill-Yo-Mon, or, you know, I'm making them up as I go, but that's the thing, like, you can just slap Mon at the end of anything. Canada Dry Mon, freaking Crapmon, like Tindamon, like, so long as it has Mon at the end of its name, it'll pass for a Digimon, under the logic that they've put down. So, that's one thing that really annoyed me about Digimon in itself. The second thing I really don't care about, I like, and it's a mixed bag actually, it's their art direction. While I like Ken Sugimori's Pokemon artwork a lot more, like, Pokemon look more appealing than Digimon, honestly. Like, When you see an ugly Digimon, trust me, you'll know it's an ugly Digimon. Like, this thing looks hideous. It's the art direction. The art direction really holds some of these things back. I mean, like, a lot. Like, you'll look at a Digimon and be like, God, this thing looks hideous. Like that thing where I was referencing where Agumon turns into crap. Yeah, when it turns into crap, like a poop-based Digimon or whatever, that thing looks hideous. Like, take whatever. Take Trubbish, take Muck, take Garbodor, take whatever you can, the ugliest Pokemon you can think of, and that thing will look like a freaking Jigglypuff fused with a Togepi compared to an ugly Digimon. So yeah, like, it's not that I hate the art direction. Some of these Digimon look really badass, actually, but I like Pokemon's art direction better. That's my whole view on that. They see, and that's pretty much the thing about that. I guess we could talk about plot. I have enough time to plot. From what I've seen of Digimon, their plot isn't the thing about Digimon, and the reason why I probably think that things are the way they are with Digimon. Digimon, these Digi-destined warriors, these kids right here in front of us, they didn't want to collect these Digimon and battle others. They more or less had to, because from what I can understand, this is the plot that I watched, they were stuck in this world and they wanted to go back home. And when they were trying to go back home, they ended up encountering a lot of Digimon that were pretty much previously good, or like good guys, but they ended up turning evil because there's like this black gear or whatever stuck in their body, which forces them to like attack humans and other Digimon and crap like that. And with that being said, they fought other Digimon more or less because they had to, not because they wanted to. Like, it's not like Pokemon. Pokemon pretty much was like a sport, where like the sport was to capture, raise, train, and fight other Pokemon in order to prove your bond between you and your Pokemon, and you know, the junk like that. Digimon was more or less a thing that they didn't choose to have these guys on their teams and fighting. They more or less had to. Like, it wasn't a competition. It felt like more of a survival thing. So to put Pokemon up against Digimon in a lot of conversations isn't really fair, considering the fact that they both have completely different plots. Of course, you wouldn't know that unless you actually watched the series. But since a lot of people shove Digimon off as a ripoff of Pokemon, there's no way for you to really know that plot point. Now, for other Digimon series, I don't know the plot to those, but I do know the plot to the first one. Like, I'll tell you right now, like, I can at least remember the plot to the first one. Their goal is to escape back into the real world while saving the digital world from disaster from evil Digimon that have somehow, like, taken these black gears in order to force good Digimon to become evil Digimon. Like, that's at least the plot line from what I can remember. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was what I think was the plot line to their series. So, in terms of, like, plot, when you take a competitive sport between creature and man and you compare it to a survival between man and creature, is it really safe to compare the two? Like, yeah, they both look the same. They both even sound the same, but that was the thing. Also, quick note, I noticed that Digimon, I don't know if this is every time, but I noticed it was one small thing. Agumon knows this thing like called pepper fire or whatever, like this attack. So that means they do have attacks. Unfortunately, I've only seen Digimon do one attack. I've never seen Digimon do like 4. So in terms of like battling, I think Pokemon have more attacks they can do. But then again, like, Digimon rely more on like battling. Like, when Agumon evolves in like Greymon will use fire, but he can also like slash his opponents and ram into them, and you know, it becomes more like a giant kaiju monster versus monster like fight or whatever. I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, we're winding down on the time, so I'm gonna just go ahead and give a brief summary of everything I said today. I like Pokemon way more than I like Digimon. I'm not a Digimon fan by any means. But I do make sure I'm making an effort to at least know what I'm talking about when it comes to Digimon, so I won't come off as an idiot. And Digimon, while it's an okay, I'd give it a look. Like, it's not bad. It's not a bad series to go give a look at. So yeah, definitely. If you like Digimon, continue watching it. It's just I like Pokemon more. Pokemon has held more of a. I've grown up with Pokemon. It's shown more of an impact in my life. But yeah, I definitely am not afraid to give Digimon a look-see sometimes. Like, if it comes in my view, I will give it a glance. But in terms of which series I'm more into, Pokemon wins by default. That's pretty much my thoughts. I'll bring your name up in the comments, person who asked about this. See you guys then. Tyrone the God 3 out, everybody.